Hello, grade 8s. I'm just going to stand back here and talk while I show the worldview, values, and beliefs charts again. We've been talking a lot about Japan's geography, who was close to them, how that affected them with Russia, China, Korea, the influence that came from them, when they got isolation, how much they let come in or not. Contact with other groups, again talking about the isolation, blocking themselves out from the outside world, only allowing a few in that they wanted to, again small bits and pieces. Talked about Russia a little bit, but mostly China and Korea, and getting into the Dutch who were allowed to come and trade, and ideas and knowledge. They weren't influenced a whole bunch by the outside world, again because of the isolation. They wanted to keep control in themselves. The shogun wanted to have the control, wanted the people to follow what they thought was important. That's why they isolated and kicked out those that were trying to influence through Christianity. Now with the other chart, the worldview affects how society operates. We talked about the social system, the hierarchical system, with the shogun down, emperor being on top, but having no real control or power. The shogun having the power through his daimyo, the samurais, controlling the farmers, how much tax they have to pay, the artisans and merchants, the lower class, how they weren't really even considered human to the bottom of the chain. Political and economic systems, who had control. Again, the shogun had control. Military government, the bakufu, controlling everything from the top again, making sure people are, I'll say, a little bit afraid or staying in place. Culture, we just kind of dealt with that. What type of pop culture, what was there with the theaters, the entertainment, the books they allowed, the poetry, the art. Again, all kind of isolated into what the shogun and government control wanted people to see and be able to have. Nothing from the outside world. This is taking us to the end of chapter 4, where the isolation has been going on for hundreds of years. Now, they're slowly having more influence, again, a little more trading. People from the outside world, eventually United States, want to get in Japan. So these things are going to change. Anytime the outside world comes in, you will have factors that affect the way you operate. If you see how other people have their political and economic systems, yours might change, or people hear about it. Again, this happened before the isolation with the Portuguese and Spaniards bringing their Christianity and their religion and beliefs in, and that was stopped for hundreds of years. Now you have, again, outside influence popping its way in, Russia, China, Korea, and eventually the United States. So the contact's going to increase. Your ideas and knowledge will change. They've already had that a little bit, the Dutch with the medical. Geographies, you're still near the same people, but what's happening to them? Are they being influenced by the outside world? We're going to talk about how China was influenced and Korea was influenced by the United States, and how that led to Japan taking a look at what's happening with them. Culture will change when you hear about things from the outside world, where new books and information come in. So now this isolation and peace has been going on for a few hundred years under the Tokugawa shogunate, originally with Tokugawa Ieyasu, and eventually his grandsons running the country, keeping it completely isolated as much as possible from influence. But that's going to change now with the United States. If you remember from last year, the United States became its own country, eventually became a power, expanded, and now they're searching the world, just like Spain and Portugal and France and England are looking for new places, new land, new trade, new conquer. So this is page 12 again, these charts, keep them in mind going forward here when we start talking about what we will call the Meiji period, the change from the shogun ruling things, possibly back to the emperor having control.